early hours this morning, Paul Pelosi was attacked with a hammer at the Pelosi residence up in Northern California by San Francisco. Paul Pelosi is 82 years old, the husband of the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, was attacked with a hammer at their San Francisco home. We know that it was a male assailant. We don't have a ton of details on him or his motivations, but it was early this morning on Friday. He was hospitalized and his injuries are serious, but he's expected to make a full recovery. Now, Paul Pelosi is known for being a bit of a real estate mogul, owning financial leasing services, and a San Francisco-based venture capitalist, on top of owning a lot of shares in many different companies, so much so that the Pelosis have made enough money to amass a net worth of over $100 million. They're known for their investments. There's this insider portfolio that actually mimics all of their investments, so you can invest exactly how they invest, which is shocking because they consistently outperform the market. So that's a little bit about who Paul is, but again, we don't know why the assailant did this. Some more details on that. The assailant entered the Pelosi residence through the back of the house, according to two sources familiar with the early details of the incident. There may be video that US Capitol Police and law enforcement can review, as there are security cameras at the home, according to two law enforcement services. The US Capitol Police released a statement saying that they are assisting the FBI and San Francisco police with a joint investigation into the break-in at the Pelosi residence in California. The statement from the Democratic Speaker's office provides further information on how law enforcement responded, saying that special agents with the USCP's California field office quickly arrived on the scene, while a team of investigators from the department's threat assessment section was simultaneously dispatched from the East Coast to assist the FBI and the San Francisco police with a joint investigation. Drew Hamill, who's a spokesperson for Nancy Pelosi, said the assailant is in custody and a motive is being investigated. The speaker was in Washington at the time of the attack. With Speaker Pelosi away, there would not have been a security detail at the residence, according to one source familiar with protocol. And a bit more details on the security protocol over there. So because Paul Pelosi is not an elected official, he does not receive protection from the United States Capitol Police or any other entity when he is not with the speaker. Now, it very clearly seems like this was an attack on Nancy Pelosi. There are some unconfirmed reports that that is why he was at the residence. Now, we can speculate as to what the motivations were, but I would just like to offer up, we do have a lot of people in public office who make a ton of money, right? They're members of the ruling class, they are the elites. Oftentimes we experience one-sided state violence. There are a lot of policies that Nancy Pelosi herself has had a hand in blocking. There's a lot more she could have pursued policy-wise that would have saved many people's lives. But I don't think this attack was someone seeking justice for how Pelosi has governed. Too often we see these attacks and their attack on democracy itself. And there are people who are motivated by wanting to live in a Christian nationalist and fascist state. We've seen a lot of attacks like this in the United States, thinking of January 6th, thinking of mass shootings. So I'm not sure that the motivations we'll ever hear about. But a lot of people are wondering. I want to bring Rayyvana in and get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, so of course we don't have the motive yet. You said they're investigating it, and we'll probably get some information out, within the next couple of weeks. But of course, there's the chance that this person was just, doing a property crime and accidentally picked the house where Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi lives. But then there's also the chance that this was a targeted attack, intended to hurt Nancy Pelosi. And we've seen a lot of rise in right-wing rhetoric, telling their constituents, from politicians even, going on the stage, Donald Trump rallies saying things like the Democrats are trying to steal this country from you. They are going to come after you. Marjorie Taylor Greene was at a Trump rally and she said that we need to fight back against the communists who have stolen our country. And those words have consequences. Those words could inspire and probably have, on many occasions, we saw it with January 6th, inspired violence. So I wouldn't be surprised if that, those things are connected.
Yeah, absolutely. So well said. I think a lot about what these folks' education was and upbringing was who do things like this, whenever something like this happens and the motivations are political, think about how we don't teach critical thinking or accurate history in public schools, and we don't teach civics to the full extent that we should. And then when you have this rhetoric being spewed, like your freedoms are being taken away by these politicians who are Democrats, the culture wars, it's not the public's fault that they can't dissect this and really understand that the people who are responsible for public goods not being delivered and the state of our country, when they can't sort that out, I understand why they're angry. And it's really a sad case, because now they hear this rhetoric and they want to take action on it because they think that this is the real bad guy. These are the real people causing the problems in our country. And so I always think, what do we do from here? And really what we do at TYT is try and educate people on this stuff. We tell the story of the news with those perspectives included. And as much as we can hate on Nancy Pelosi, we have to understand that, this attack was most likely done because of that rhetoric being spread. Like, that's my prediction, is that we're going to find out that this was someone with very far right motivations and someone who follows people like Tucker Carlson, like Ben Shapiro, like Matt Walsh. That's my prediction here.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to find that out at all. I mean, and Tucker Carlson has one of the largest platforms in this country that spreads his white nationalist message to millions and millions of impressionable viewers every day. And I think you really hit the nail on the head when you said that it's about education. People are being miseducated, not just by the news and by the media, but in public schools. And, the right wing wants you to believe that public schools are an indoctrination center for communist theory. I wish they were, but actually people are not learning such things in school, and our schools are sorely underfunded, and teachers are barely able to, manage teaching basic math, science, English classes because of the lack of funding and the overcrowded classrooms and lack of support. So we really do need to focus on education first, and I'm glad that TYT is dedicated to that mission.
Yeah, I always say that. And I'm not the only one. I'm sure this comes from someone else much older than me who's been doing the work for much longer than me. But we've got to not be mad at people, and we've got to be mad at systems. Because even if someone were to show up to the Pelosis and this was a targeted attack trying to take Pelosi out, what's going to happen? I mean, we've got terribly gerrymandered districts. We've got big tech funders lobbying the elected officials who come out of San Francisco. Unless we dismantle the systems in place that lead to us having elected officials that might not represent us, we're going to have just another person step into that position. And so what we've really got to be angry at and focus on are these systems, like our public school system, for example. And right now, Democratic Party leadership isn't doing much about these big super PACs buying up school board elections, putting millions of dollars into them to get people in office who will teach a curriculum that is very ideological. These people don't want us to learn an accurate history of race in this country. They don't want us to have LGBTQ flags in the schools. And of course, they're fomenting this culture war to distract from the real problems, but there are real consequences to them taking over school board elections as well. So yeah, we've got to be mad at systems, not mad at people. No matter how much you don't like Nancy Pelosi, I think we can all agree that this was not the next step our country needed. This was not a development that's going to bring our country in a positive direction. Any last thoughts on this, Rayyvana?
No, I think that you summed it up perfectly.